Good to have you back, Mr. Worf.
Think there aren't enough Star Trek films for a top 10 list?
So to 1/3. Take us in.
That's never stopped us before. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 best films in the Star Trek franchise.
My God, Bones. What have I done?
What you had to do. What you always do. Turn death into a fighting chance to live.
For this list, any film that starts with the words Star Trek is eligible, from those featuring the original cast to those with the Next Generation cast, and even the current reboots. Now, engage.
Punch it.
Number 10, Star Trek Nemesis.
I think it's worth taking a look.
One of the more overlooked Trek films, Nemesis came at a time when the world was engulfed in Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter mania.
15 years I've been waiting to say that.
The darkest of the sometimes vanilla next-gen entries, it's a story with clones, coup d'etat, and campaigns for planetary destruction.
Right now, you're thinking this all sounds too good to be true. But you're also thinking that the chance for peace is too promising to ignore.
With Tom Hardy joining the Next Generation cast as an evil Reman leader. It's the 10th film in the franchise, so it's bound to rehash familiar plot points and devices. But this one also brings humanity to its characters. Yes, even the androids.
Goodbye.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Number 9, Star Trek Generations.
You go for the launcher.
No, you can never make that by yourself. We have to work together.
We are working together. Trust me. Go.
Good luck, Captain.
Call me Jim.
Let's face it, this one mostly lands here on the strength of cool points, nostalgia, and inside jokes. But that's enough for us.
Oh, it's all in good fun, Data.
Fun.
Fun.
I do not understand.
Like many Trek films, the plot of the 7th flick only kinda makes sense. But come on, Captains Kirk and Picard versus a sneering Malcolm McDowell in a desert standoff? It's gotta be awesome, right? While the battle itself may be about as exciting as the slow-motion fight sequences of the original series, it's still good to see Kirk back in action one last time. Number 8, Star Trek The Motion Picture.
Capture God. Feature's liable to be in for one hell of a disappointment.
Perhaps not, Doctor.
The first film to bear the Star Trek name, this one came an entire decade after the original series was canceled, and thus, it's perhaps the most divisive amongst fans.
All due respect, sir, I hope this isn't some kind of Starfleet pep talk. I'm really too busy.
I'm taking over the center seat, Will.
You're what?
Subsequently nicknamed The Motionless Picture,
I sense no emotion.
the film reintroduced Gene Roddenberry's iconoclastic franchise to a new audience, at least those who were able to stay awake until the end. Yes, it has been criticized for its slow pace and lack of action, but we prefer to remember the inaugural Trek film for its awesome visuals and breathtaking special effects.
The sensor must contain some special meaning.
Captain, you're gonna punch me again over and over till your arm weakens. Clearly you want to, so tell me. Why did you allow me to live?
Number 7, Star Trek Into Darkness. The 12th installment overall, and the second for J.J. Abrams and his stellar cast, Into Darkness borrows Nemesis, plot elements, and entire sequences from previous Trek films. But it's anything but a tired retread.
Why aren't we moving, Captain? An unexpected malfunction, perhaps in your warp core, conveniently stranding you on the edge of Klingon space.
The official militarization of space sets the stage for an imposing villain in the form of Benedict Cumberbatch to join the series.
Who are you?
With enough novel elements to invite new fans, and enough callbacks to keep lifelong Trekkers satisfied, this exhilarating, effects-heavy trek through space is an exciting and funny adventure.
I can open one up there, but I will need some help.
Turn around. Now.
Number 6. Star Trek III: The Search for Spock.
Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most human.
Directed by Leonard Nimoy, The Search for Spock attempts to mesh the best elements of the Trek films that came before it, combining mesmerizing effects with emotional intensity.
Mr. Chekhov?
An energy reading from C-Deck, from inside Mr. Spock's quarters.
I ordered Spock's quarters sealed.
Yes, sir. I sealed the room myself.
With rogue Klingon Captain Krug portrayed by Christopher Lloyd, the only actor this side of Ricardo Montalban who can match William Shatner at over-the-top performances, Search for Spock never stops being awesome.
Say the wrong thing, Torg!
If it's business you want, there are life signs on the planet. Perhaps the very scientists you seek.
Very good.
While it falls short of Khan's success, the third Trek film offers fans an emotionally rewarding movie experience with their beloved characters.
Why would you do this?
Because the needs of the one outweighed the needs of the many.
Number 5. Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home.
Does the species exist on any other planet?
Negative. Humpbacks were indigenous to Earth. Earth of the past.
Well,
Whether or not you see this as a propaganda piece for one of the rallying cries of the 80s, that is, the Save the Whales campaign, the results are pretty great.
I think we'll find what we're looking for at the Station Institute in Sausalito. A pair of humpback whales named George and Gracie.
How do you know this?
Simple logic.
By comparing Gene Roddenberry's idyllic future with 20th century insensitivities and Cold War tensions, The Voyage Home embodies the hope that has always made Star Trek unique.
Humans make illogical decisions.
They do indeed.
After 2 decades together, the cast gels, allowing for the human interaction and humor we've come to expect.
Dealing with medievalism here.
And it's pretty cool how the slingshot around the sun time travel premise works. Number 4. Star Trek: First Contact.
We are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own.
Speaking of nonsensical but convenient time travel, the 8th film sees the Enterprise go suddenly from blowing up a Borg cube to 3 centuries into the past. In what is widely considered the greatest Star Trek film to feature the Next Generation cast, Picard and company battle the most diabolical adversary of the new series in an epic, Moby Dick-inspired story.
Assimilate this.
With Jonathan Frakes as director, the Starfleet crew attempts to thwart the Borg's quest to stop First Contact, which involves talking some sense into this guy.
I'll be sure to note that in my log.
Number 3. Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country.
I have so wanted to meet you, Captain.
I'm not sure how to take that.
After the campy, low-budget Shatner Fest Star Trek V,
Well, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it by the book.
the franchise found itself on its knees.
That's not true.
No.
No.
But with proper financing and director Nicholas Meyer at the helm, the series' 6th installment confronts perhaps the most important geopolitical allegory of the entire series.
I give you my word, I don't understand what's happened.
We're here to help.
In the wake of the fall of the USSR, the Klingon peace mission turned conspiracy adventure paralleled real-life events, but set them in a familiar future that has no trouble remembering its past.
We're outside the shield. Now it's your turn, Captain.
If you say so.
Are you crazy?
Not only did this episode solidify the original cast's legacy, it also sent them off with respect.
All decks, this is the captain speaking.
tracking. Evacuate the ship immediately. Get your designated shuttlecraft. Repeat, evacuate.
That's George's voice. Number 2, Star Trek. J.J. Abrams' lens flare-filled update finally brought Star Trek to mainstream audiences. As TV series and films featuring new casts waned in popularity, the 11th film returns to the iconic characters and look of the original series.
They're creating a black hole at the center of Vulcan?
Yes, sir.
How long does the planet have?
Minutes, sir.
While polishing up every detail and pushing the pace to breakneck speeds.
It was logical to cultivate multiple options.
Abrams' tinkering with the series' DNA made fans anxious, but with new cast members who pay homage to their older counterparts, and a story that reminds us why we love the series, it's a stellar reboot for an interstellar franchise.
Your ongoing mission? To explore strange new worlds. To seek out new life forms and new civilizations. To boldly go where no one has gone before.
While we don't generally do dishonorable mentions, it's kind of hard not to when a film is bad enough to not make it onto a list of 10 out of a dozen possible options. So here are a few dishonorable mentions.
Excuse me, I'd just like to ask a question. What does God need with a starship?
Bring the ship closer.
I said, what does God need with a starship?
I have an odd craving for the blood of a live Kolar beast. This environment must be affecting me again.
Number 1. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. The undisputed chief of this list, Nicholas Meyer's Trek masterwork helped usher in a new era of science fiction during the summer of 1982. Not with effects or tricks, but with stories about human nature.
Ah, Kirk, my old friend. Do you know the Klingon proverb that tells us revenge is a dish that is best served cold?
Overhauled since the previous film entry, this movie goes back to the formula that made the original series so compelling. Using every tool at a captain's disposal, the Enterprise crew attempts to outwit the chest-bearing superhuman adversary they'd previously met in the 1960s series.
Allow me to introduce you to SETI Alpha 5's only remaining indigenous life form.
And what a worthy adversary he is, too.
No, you can't get away from hell's heart. I stab at thee.
Do you agree with our list? Which Trek films do you think are the best?
Each one looking exactly as they did then. Like looking through the eyes of childhood again.
For more top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
I do not understand. I've always known. I'll die alone.